Hi BookTube, my name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with my August 2021 wrap-up and stats video. So I have not done a wrap-up and stats video in months. They just, I've been getting busy and a couple weeks I'm only able to put up like one video, and for some reason this video is always the one that ends up getting pushed to the side. So I have the time. I am going to be filming it for the month of August, even though August was one of my lower reading months, this lower amount of books read in a month, but that's okay. I know a lot of you guys like seeing these. I love doing them. I really do, even though they tend to get pushed to the side in favor of other things. So apologies for the lighting in this video and the next video you're going to see on Friday. I am filming this after work, so the lighting isn't the best, but we're going to work with it, guys. We're going to work with it. So wrap up and stats. So how I do these videos is I talk about my stats. I love going through all of my stats every month of, how many certain books I read and series and star ratings and all those great things. And then I get into some like kind of fun, extra statisticky, not even statistics, but like longest book, shortest book, those kind of fun things. And then I will give you guys my top 5 books of the month of August. And I only read 16, well, not only, I read 16 books in August. That's an absolutely perfect reading month. Doesn't matter. If you read one book in a month, if you read a million books in a month, both are completely acceptable. And as long as you're reading, that's what matters. But of the 16 books that I read in August, I had some really great reads. So that's a good thing. So like I said, 16 books read this month. 13 of them were new books. 3 of them were rereads. My Goodreads goal, I'm at 162 as of the 1st of September. I'm at 162 out of 150 books. 150 was my goal. So I've surpassed my goal and I'm at 108% of my goal finished. That's kind of fun. I debated on upping it because I've done that in previous years, like pushing the goal up, and I'm like, no, I'm going to leave it where it is and let's see where we land at the end of the year. So as for star ratings, I had 1 3-star read. Whoops, scrolling too far. 1 3-star read, 7 3.5-star reads, 4 4-stars, 3 4.5-star, and I did have a 5-star read this month. My average star rating for the month was 3.88, which is not too shabby. I mean, it's almost a 4-star was my average for the month. So in terms of the genre of book that I read, no surprise here, 6 of them were contemporary romances, 3 were middle grade, which were the Babysitters Club books that I'm reading, 2 cozy mysteries, a thriller, a historical romance, a historical fiction, a paranormal, and a fantasy romance, I guess you'd call it. I also like keeping track of how many different category romance books I read, i.e. the Harlequins, because you guys know those are my bread and butter, and they are probably, going through everything now, they take up the majority of the books that I own, not just physically, but digitally as well. So I do like keeping track of that. So I read 2 heartwarming books, a desire novel, and a Blaze novel in August. It made up 25% of my reading was category romance. I read 13 books geared towards an adult audience, and 3 of them middle grade, again, the Babysitters Club books. 3 books published in the 1990s, 1 published in the 2000s, 1 in the 2010s, 7 published in 2020, and 4 of them published this year in 2021, so that's not too shabby. In terms of how I consume my books, 10 of them were ebooks, 4 audiobooks, and 2 mass market paperbacks. That number is going to be very, very skewed for the month of September. I know that already going in. If you're watching my weekly vlogs, I am trying, because I want to read more. I have so much on my shelves, you guys, that I want to read that I just don't have the time to get to. So I am actually, for a while at the beginning of this year, I was like, no, I'm going to try and stay away from audiobooks. I just want to read physically and on my Kindle. And you know what? I realized why audiobooks are so great, because I can be at work doing work, because a lot of what I do is admin type stuff. It's, I'm not a brain surgeon by trade. Thank God for that. I can't ever forget that movie. Oh, what was it? Was it Tommy Boy? A lot of people go to school for 7 years. Yeah, they're called doctors. But I can actually do other things outside of just sitting and paying attention to what I'm doing. A lot of it is mindless and I have the time to do that, so I love popping in an audiobook. So like I said, that audiobook number is going to be a lot higher in August for September, because I am reading a lot more audiobooks, you guys, which is great, which means I'm reading a lot more. So that's the most important thing. So in terms of series reading, I read 11 books that were part of a series. 5 books were standalone. Of those 11 books that were part of a series, I only started one new series this month, you guys, or in August. Aren't you proud of me? I'm proud of me. And 10 of them were part of ongoing series I was already reading, so that's great. So I read a grand total of 4,000... Guys, I need my glasses. I tried to do this without my glasses, and it's just not working. 4,858 pages in the month of August. That works out to about an average of 157 pages per day. So into some of the random stuff that I like compiling here. So the highest rated book on Goodreads that I read was Charmed by the Cook's Kids by Melinda Curtis. It has a 4.70 star rating on Goodreads. I gave it 4 stars. I really like that one. The lowest rated book, this one actually surprised me. Because I read so many Babysitters Club books every month, most of the time they end up being my lowest rated book. Not because they're not good books, but I just think because not a lot of people are reading them, especially the further I get into the series. Like, a lot of people are rereading the original 10 or 12 of them, but like, I'm up to book 60 something at this point. So I think a lot of people aren't reading that far, and the ratings tend to be lower, but this surprised me. So the lowest rated book for the month was Stranger in the Lake by Kimberly Bell. Had an average star rating of 3.62 stars, which still is not that bad. I gave it 3.5 stars, so I was pretty much in agreement with everyone else on Goodreads for that one. The longest book I read in terms of page count was Texas Redemption by Linda Brody, which was a great Western historical romance. It came in at 448 pages. The shortest book I read was A Babysitter's Club. It was Jessie and the Awful Secret by, of course, Ann M. Martin. Came in at 147 pages. And the average number of pages per book was 304 pages. Now, for a while, I was sharing with you guys the number of books I was buying every month, the average cost of the books. I will be honest with you guys. Now I already did this video earlier this month where I had like all the books I got from Harlequin digitally, like I purchased from Harlequin digitally. That's all I bought in August. I borrowed a bunch of stuff from the library, but I have not been buying books, and I'm really happy about that. So it's great. Like, I keep thinking I go to buy a book, and I'm like, but wait, maybe my library has this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I already have, and I think doing the Kindle, What's on My Kindle videos is really bringing to light the fact that I have a lot to read. I do not need to be buying anything. But I always do love buying the stuff from Amazon or from the Harlequin website. And of course, I do get the NetGalley book. So, I don't know. Do you guys want to see the NetGalley? I keep asking this, and I think a lot of you do. Do you? Because I haven't really been keeping track of what I get when. But if you guys are interested, let me know. I can do a what I received from NetGalley this month videos. Could start those in October. So do let me know. Challenges and events. The only one I really participated in August was, of course, the Triple RC Challenge, which is the Romance Readers Reading Group here on Goodreads, or on Goodreads, not here on Goodreads, but on Goodreads. And 10 out of 10, again, this is now 5 years, 8 months I have completed this challenge. And fun side note, for anyone who's thinking about participating in the challenge, you haven't done it yet, stay tuned for my August TBR. Good Lord. My October TBR. Stay tuned for my October TBR. I'm going to announce it now, but I will have a link in October. I am actually hosting it again. I hosted it in April, and the creators of that challenge, the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads, have reached back out to me asking if I would host October's. So if you want to participate, join me in October. I've got some really fun challenges planned, so that's exciting. So now into my top 5 books of the month. Yay. Okay, so coming in spot number 5. So as I always tell people, this is from least most favorite to most favorite. So coming in spot number 5 is Charmed by the Cook's Kids by Melinda Curtis. I gave this one 4 stars. This is a Harlequin heartwarming novel. This was absolutely delightful. So it's about a single mom, 2 little boys, and she is running this diner in this very small town in Idaho. Like, there are no frills. Most of the stuff she cooks is from frozen just because it's easier. You know, bacon, eggs, like kind of like a breakfast type place. And then this guy who is a Michelin star chef comes into town, and it's his cousin who lives in town, and he's actually going to be doing the wedding food. And the diner is being offered essentially for him to do prep for the wedding. And of course, him and the single mom butt heads. It's adorable. Absolutely adorable. Harlequin, heartwarming are sweet romances, so there is no adult content in these books. This is a further book in the series. I think it's like book 8. I haven't read the previous books. I was totally able to read this one out of order. No problem with it. Melinda Curtis, though, is a fantastic writer, and I highly recommend that you read everything by her. But if you're looking for a place to jump in and get started, I recommend this book. Coming in the next spot for something completely different, Neon Gods by Katie Roberts was my 4th place. I gave this one 4.5 stars, you guys. I was totally shocked. So I had heard a lot about this book, and I'm like, okay, people always say Katie Roberts, oh my gosh, she's so scandalous. You're just going to be clutching your pearls and gasping at, you know, how spicy her books are. But from what a lot of people told me, her independently published stuff is a lot dirtier, grittier. I don't like using the term dirty for adult content because it's spicier. It's grittier. That's what I mean. This is more traditionally published by Source Books, I believe. So this is essentially a retelling of the Hades and Persephone's myth. And I loved it. I mean, yes, it goes there. It on the spice meter for me, it was just hitting like the penthouse, if you will. If we were in an elevator, it was up near the penthouse. But it was still really good. Like, it didn't go... Okay, so this is how I always explain it to people, because people just think, like, when I talk about this, that I don't like adult content in books. No, that's not it at all. I like a story, okay? If the sex is pushing the plot, like, if it's there to further the plot, I'm all for it. If it's there for the sake of being there, no, I don't like it. And also there are some instances where there's stuff that makes me uncomfortable. So everybody has a line, and, you know, each to our own. We don't need to share what that line is, but we each have our own line that we don't want to cross in terms of what we're reading. But most of the stuff, like, I love Jill Shalvis. I just finished a Sarah McLean book. Like, those ladies get spicy. Like, they are spicy. But again, the sex is in those books to further along the plot. Does that make sense? So this one was done well in that instance. It didn't cross a boundary that made me uncomfortable. I really liked it. I thought it was a really good story. The next book, again, we're just kind of like flipping back and forth between things. There's a good mix of genres on this top 5, you guys, and I'm really happy about that. Coming in spot number 3 is An Endless Cornish Summer by Philippa Ashley. I gave this one 4.5 stars as well. This is, I would define as a chick lit novel. It's a UK author. I have read her before. This was delightful. It's about a woman who has, I believe it's like a bone marrow transplant. And after her grand passes away, she goes to Cornwall in England. Like, she's already in England, then she goes to Cornwall. She spends the summer there, and she's looking for her donor. And there is a bit of a romance in there, but it's, of course, much more about her finding herself. And it was absolutely delightful, you guys. I loved it so, so much. I listened to this one on audio. The narration on this one was brilliant. I loved it. If you love a good chick lit novel, you need to check this one out. Next up in spot number 2 was Closely Harbored Secrets by Brie Baker. I gave this one 4.5 stars as well. This is book 5 in the Seaside Cafe Mystery series, and this is my favorite so far in the series. I absolutely loved it. It takes place at Halloween. There is, Halloween on this small South Carolina island. Of course, it's a cozy mystery. So let me catch you up to speed, and someone is murdered. And of course, our main character, Everly, is trying to find out the whodunit. I don't want to say much more than that. It was absolutely delightful. There is that great small town charm. Everly runs this like iced tea restaurant, cafe. She has 2 eccentric aunts who remind me so much of the aunts from the movie Practical Magic, not the book, but the movie Practical Magic. You could totally see her aunts doing midnight margaritas. Whereas for, but in the book they actually do, I think it's like midnight pancakes or something, and it's delightful. Check this series out. Please don't sleep on this series. If you love cozy mysteries, you need to read this one. And last but not least, coming in first place, surprising everyone, including myself, was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I gave this book 5 stars. I raved about this book a few weeks ago. I don't want to say too much what it's about because I went into it very blind. It's about a woman in 1714 France who does not want to marry this guy because she knows she's now going to be stuck living in this same, she's going to be born, live her life, and die within this same small village. She wants to experience life. She wants to travel. She wants to write. So she essentially makes a deal with the devil to live forever. That's all I'm going to tell you. It was fabulous. And I listened to this one on audio as well, narrated by the amazing Julia Whalen. She did such a brilliant job narrating this book. Please do yourself a favor and read this one. This is going to be one of my top books of the year. I just know it. I absolutely know it. I loved this so much. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have for this video today. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below what was your favorite book that you read in August. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.